What's going on, guys? It's your boy Ethan. Hope you're having a great day. Welcome back to another video on the channel. We're back home, obviously coming back here at Boston Billiard. Just tested negative for COVID, which is always great after traveling from across this country to Texas, and we're back here. We're good to go. Anyways, back here at Boston Billiard, going to hop into session, rocking the favorable hat. It's getting cold here. The weather out here is nothing like LA. It's crazy, so super cold. Glad we're inside playing poker, inside at least, so we're not freezing. I'm gonna hop into the game. We'll see what happens. We're back at our home casino, which is nice. Wish us luck. Hope you guys are well. Starting off the day at 1-3, first hand in we pick up 8-9 of spades and +1 with a button straddle. There are the blinds, both of them limp in and call the straddle for $5. I decide to raise things up to $30, and the player to my left makes the call, and somehow everyone else folds. Not sure what the blinds are doing limp folding, but here we are. Heads up to a flop, which comes queen 10-5 all spades. Pretty much as good of a flop as you can ask for. We pick up the gutter ball to the straight flush as well. I bet out $45 with our flush, and he makes the call for $45. Off to a turn, which comes the 10 of diamonds. Not really a card that changes much at all, although it is paired. I throw out another bet of $145, protect my equity against one spade holdings. He decides to rip it all in, as $145 was not enough. He jams for $300 even, and this is a snap call. We're off to a river. The river comes another queen. That can't be good. He also says, I gotcha, which isn't great. Flips over ace queen offsuit. And runner boat. That's not good to start the day. We need some more chips. All right, 27 minutes played at 1-3. You saw one hand, the flopped flush over runner boat. Unfortunate there. Got called into the 2-5 game. We're just gonna go hop into that. The 1-3 actually had a good amount of money in it, but I don't know. It's 2-5. You guys like seeing bigger pots. Let's just see what happens. We were in the 1-3 for $920, out for $553. The net is right there on the screen. I can't do that math right now. Anyways, hopping to 2-5, wish us luck, and let's go. First go at it with king queen of diamonds in the small blind, this time playing four-handed on a short table. The button opens up the action to $15, and I'm certainly not going to be folding. Calling, also not great playing four-handed. I put in the 3-bet with a pretty strong hand to $60. It folds back to the button, who watches the channel. He makes the call, and we're off to a flop. Flop comes ace 7-3 rainbow, super dry board on an ace high board here. Certainly going to be c-betting my range, as I certainly can be holding a lot of ace x's. I throw out a bet of $50, and immediately we get more bad news. He decides to raise things up to $125. Obviously, king queen high, it's not going to work out for us in our first hand here. We fold, and needing to add on more chips. Second 2-5 hand we go, ace jack offsuit on the button, and there's a limper to me. Certainly putting in the raise here over the limp. I size up to $25, and we don't get a single player to fold, left to act. The small blind, big blind, and limper decides to call. Four ways to a flop, which comes 6-7-3 rainbow. Here, action checks to me, and obviously we're not that crazy to bluff into three other players with ace jack high. I check it back. The turn comes the 5 of spades, and once again, action checks to me. Four-liner on the board. I certainly don't have too many fours in my range, besides, the hand, pocket fours. Anyways, just going to check this back as played and see a river. The river comes the jack of spades, and once again, strangely enough, action checks to me. Rivering top, can we go for a thin value bet on a four-liner of a board? With only one pair, it seems a little close, but I decided to go for it because thin value is really how you make a lot of money in small stakes poker. So I bet $30, action onto the small blind immediately. He tank folds. The big blind decides to make the call for 30, and the limper now to my right, he snap calls. So if I get two callers here with one pair on this kind of board texture, I can't be good, but when I show my hand and they both muck, somehow we take this one down. This is the first winning hand. We get moved off of the must-move game into one of the main 2-5 games, and the first hand we get dealt in, pocket aces under the gun. I wasn't even ready to start recording yet. But first hand in aces, we open up the action to $20. The button and big blind both call, so three ways to a flop. Flop is Jack 9-7 2 diamonds. Here, draw heavy board. Pretty decent flop for us for aces. I decided to c-bet $40, and we get one player to make the call on the button. He's got a massive stack, certainly covering us. We're off to a turn, which comes the Deuce of Hearts, pretty much one of the brickest cards we could ask for. So with that said, let's go for value. Let's target Jack X. Let's target, I don't know, Queen 10, a lot of other draws that can be out there. We size to $115. Unfortunately, no more value for us. He decides to lay this one down, and we take down another pot. Alright, this next hand with pocket sixes on the button, there's an Only Gun Limp, and the +1 raises to $30. The cutoff makes the call, and here, with a pretty decent hand to go set mining with, I make the call, and the Only Gun Limper also calls. We're going 4 ways to a flop. The flop comes 6, 6, 7, 2 diamonds. Yeah, you heard it right. We flop quads right off the bat. Crazy. Action checks to the +1 pre-flop raiser, who puts in the c-bet to $60. What a dream for us. We see some action. I obviously just make the call for 60, and even better, the Only Gun Limper makes the call as well. Little did they know, they are all in a world of hurt. Anyways, 3 ways to a turn, which comes the Jack of Diamonds, brings in a backdoor flush draw. This board is pretty wet, and obviously no one can have too strong of a hand here. Unfortunately, action checks to me, and we're thinking, how can we get more money in here? Obviously, sitting with quads, no one's gonna have a 6. But I throw out a very small bet of $75, just trying to milk them in. This is a very draw-heavy board texture, and I don't think a hand like 7x is going to call too big of a bet anyways. With that said, the Only Gun player snap calls, which makes it seem like he's on a draw or doesn't have too strong of a hand. The other player reluctantly makes the fold, so we're off to a river. The river comes the 5 of spades. This unfortunately seems like a total brick. The Only Gun player tanks for a while and then checks. While he was tanking, I was hoping he'd fire out a bluff of some sort, but when he checks, it seems like he missed his draw and giving up. With that said, usually I would polarize myself in these situations in the past, but I never got called whenever I bet really big on the river. So with that said, I put out a normal smaller sizing of $150, but unfortunately, he didn't have too much to call with as he decides to fold. So yeah, quads, we got some action. Hard to get too much money in there with quads, but we will take this pot down. Next hand in, pocket aces in the small blind. We get the cutoff to open up the action to $25, and he's got a big stack. Certainly covers us. We're sitting maybe 1,300 deep. So now onto me. Certainly going to put in that 3-bet, and I'll just size a normal 4x sizing to $100. Him opening at 25 seems pretty indicative of a strong hand, so let's see what happens. He makes the call for $100, and we're going to play this hand out of position. The flop comes Jack 7-4 Rainbow. With all things considered, it's a pretty darn dry flop, so I decided to size down and c-bet $70 in this instance. He doesn't think too long before making the call. You know, I can get a lot of value from pocket 10s and other underpairs and obviously Jack X's. So we're off to a turn which comes another Jack. Well, I'm really hoping we aren't up against Jack X now, but with that said, I don't think I can get too much value right now. I decided to check with aces. It's not like I can get 3 streets of value against pocket 10s or anything anyways. And when I check, he quickly checks it back. Off to a river which comes a queen. Given this action here, it doesn't seem likely that I can get too much value, I don't think, from worse. Does he ever float the flop with ace queen, king queen, random hands like that? Not really. So with that said, I check. Now he throws out a bet of $110. Is there any chance that he's going for very thin value with a queen? Is there any chance that I can raise here and get value from that hand as well? It seems a little unlikely, so I just had to flat the $110, hoping he's on some sort of a bluff, but no bluff here. He shows us King Jack offsuit for turn trips. He probably could have gotten 3 streets of value if he wanted to bet turn and river, but we're going to lose this one. Alrighty, next hand, ace 10 of diamonds and +1. I open things up to $20, and we don't get too many folds on this table here. The button, small blind, and big blind call. Off to a flop, which comes king, king, deuce, rainbow. Action checks to me, and I certainly can c-bet this flop. Certainly will be doing this with most of my pocket pairs multi-way, but with ace 10 high, we don't need to play this too out of line here. I decided to check, and it checks around. The turn comes the 9 of diamonds, brings in our backdoor flush draw, And now the small blind leads for $30. Really weird, interesting spot. The big blind makes the call for 30, and obviously I don't think I'm ever folding the nut flush draw on this board, even though it's paired. 30 is way too small. I make the call, and the other guy folds. Let's go to a river, hoping to improve. The river is the queen of diamonds. Perfect. We did improve. The small blind once again throws out a bet of $75. The big blind snap folds, and obviously this really small sizing could be very indicative of just trips. I think a boat would be going for more value on the river here, but with that said, putting him on trips here, I decided to raise it up on a larger amount to $300. I don't think many players can fold trips, especially flops trips as well. So let's try to get value from that. If he decides to re-raise us and jam it or something like that, then I think we're going to have to fold the nut flush. But I raise a 300. He unfortunately folds, which is not great for us, but at least we got there and we take down a decent sized pot. Alrighty, things are getting spicy. We have an under the gun straddler, me, and we pick up king queen offsuit, which is a pretty premium holding. The cutoff and button limp the $10 straddle that I put out there, and now the small blind raises to $40. The big blind makes the call, and I think this is a really good hand on the straddle to squeeze. King queen off obviously very good, and given the action of the small blind only raising the 40 over 2 limps, doesn't seem like he has too strong of a holding. With that said, we decided to 3-bet to $160. We're in position of the small blind. 4xing it will do the trick. Hoping to take the dead money down, but action folds all the way around to the big blind, who just made the call of the small blind raise. And now he calls with a very short stack of only 126 behind. So we don't love playing short stack poker, especially when the blinds are $10, but let's go to a flop. The flop is deuce 3 6 rainbow. He checks to us, and you know, this really isn't the board I'm looking for with king queen off. I'm not entirely sure. I don't know if I'm ever gonna fold to a jam anyways because he's so short. We check. The turn comes a 4, so I don't really know what to make of it. He does decide to rip it all in though for $126. It's so strange. Like, I certainly can be good here. I feel like if he's jamming a pair, I still have 2 overs. Maybe he's bluffing with jack 10 suited. I have no idea, but we're just gonna gamble. We decided to just make the call here with king queen high. I have king high. The river is the 3 of spades, and he's gonna show us ace 7 of hearts. Ace high is going to take this one down. Sheepishly make the fold, and nice hand, man. This one was unfortunate. Alrighty, not running great, but ace 8 of clubs. Let's do it. We're under the gun. We're playing 5-handed, and because we're playing 5-handed, this is going to be in my opening range. I open things up to $20, and apparently this was a nice bomb pot. I wasn't really made aware of this, but 4 other players call, so it's a family pot, bomb pot. Let's go to a flop. Flop comes king 6 deuce 2 clubs, so nut flush draw on a multi-weight board 5-handed. I decided to take the initiative and make a bet here for $60. I'm not expecting to be getting this through all the time, but I did raise pre-flop, I did raise under the gun, and I have a lot of king X's in my range that are stronger, so $60 bet we go. The player to my left, who hasn't played too many hands, makes the call. That's a little suspect, unfortunate, but also the small blind calls as well. So now we're going 3 ways to a turn. We know what we need. We need to see a black club. The turn comes a black 4, but it's of spades, unfortunately. Once again, action checks to me, and I think I should probably be checking this back if I want to play standardly, but we're stuck a little bit, and let's just try to build a pot. So I size pretty small to $110. This will really give me a good idea of where I am at right now, because I think all hands outside of king X's are going to be folding. With that said, the player on my left makes the call. She has some sort of king X holding, I'm sure, and I don't think I can ever really get her to fold top pair. The other player folds, and we're going heads up to a river. Needing to improve, we need some help. The river comes the jack of hearts. Yeah, we're never going to get her to fold a king here. It's pretty obvious she has a king. I check, and she checks it back with king 9 of hearts. She's going to take this one down. Nice hand there, and yeah, just didn't get there. Following hand, we're back and under the gun, picking up a much better hand this time in pocket kings. I open it up to $20. The cutoff makes the call, and little did you know, we get to face a 3-bet. We face a 3-bet from the small blind, who sizes to $85. And more action ensues. The big blind makes the call for $85. And we're given this multi-way action, 4 players involved. I think this is just a mandatory 4-bet here. We do not need to take pocket kings 4 ways to the flop. So let's try to isolate and take advantage of our very aggressive image so far. We decide to size up to a 4-bet of $350. And now at this point, action folds all the way back around to the big blind player. Player to my right, he's been pretty active so far. He was the guy that we doubled up with against ace-7 of hearts. So certainly probably not folding. So while tanking for a pretty long time, he ends up making the call for $350 as I was hoping he would. So he's only got 280 behind, and let's see a flop, preferably non-ace high. Flop comes ace, deuce, 4, 2 spades. Gotta love that. He checks, and it's we're annoyed. It's like every time we get kings, an ace comes out, but he's so short, and I think even though I can value myself against ace X of whatever, I feel like he's so short that he's just going to have to call it off with pocket 10s, jacks, I guess, as well. So with that said, I just rip it all in. He snap calls, so that can't be great. I tell him an ace is good. He shows us ace queen of clubs, and let's go to runouts. Hopefully, we can 2-outer him. The runout does not improve us, unfortunately, and yeah, we're doubling him up twice now tonight. Not great for our stack. Last hand of this video, you were getting a little bored here. We pick up 7 deuce offsuit on the button, and if you're asking, no, there's no 7 deuce game going on right now. There are 2 limpers to me, and I don't think my image is crazy enough, so I decided to raise this premium hand to $30. Only the player to my right makes the call who limped. He's the guy with ace queen, guy with ace 7. He's going to play a wider range of hands, and it can't be too much wider than 7 deuce. We're going to a flop which comes ace, 10, 4, 2 hearts. He checks to me, and ace high boards are good enough to c-bet. I bet $40, and he makes the call pretty darn quickly. Off to a turn which comes another 10. He checks, and although this is not a good card for us, I don't think we can check it back and win with 7 high. With that reasoning, I throw out $100 as a bet, and good thing for us, he folds. And if we're going to do this with 7 deuce, you might as well show the table. It's great for the game.
We're out of the session, sitting down because I think this outro, we need to sit down for this one. We've been running really hot so far, and today it was the opposite of that. Aces, kings, quads, all great things for a winning session, but not today. So we played the 1-3. We played one hand of 1-3 in 30 minutes. We lost $367 there. Then the 2-5, we thought, let's just run it up in 2-5. We were in the game for 2,300, out for 10-10. So that's not a good one. We only played for 3 hours. L's all around today. We've been running really well, not today. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. I don't even know. Smash that like button. I love a pity like. That's always fun. But with that said, I'll see you guys in the next video. Hopefully we run better next time. Peace.